So I kicked off the new year with an event called Vision 2020, which focused specifically on social entrepreneurship. And I had this thought to do this in mind, pretty much because I saw that there was a need to be able to provide foundational information to all business owners. With this particular event, I thought it would be a great idea just to gather a group of individuals who were interested in starting a business, who wanted to learn the fundamentals of what it means to be in a nonprofit, and then also, if you wanted to start a for-profit business, the pros and cons of each one as well. The first thing you have to think about is, going through the phase of concept phase and writing everything down as you want it to appear and you visualize as you want your business to grow. And then on the back end, what we did is we added in a portion specifically for discretionary funding and how you're able to pull that funding in or apply for that funding with the respective politicians that are currently in office. Right now, what I'm really focusing on is anyone who is looking to really try something different in the realm of starting social entrepreneurship. I wanted to make sure that businesses, especially businesses of color, have that, resource and, foundation so that they could be successful long term. What's up, everybody? How are you? It is so good to be back in a different time, in a different virtual space. I hope that your day is going well. I hope that you had some time to sit back, at least for a moment, have a glass of wine, because I assure you after this show, I'm going to have probably a whole bottle because my day was very stressful, but it was good. So I am glad to be here. For those who are joining us and are not really familiar with who I am, my name is Anita Pierce, and I am your host of this show, A Journey of the Entrepreneur. I am excited to welcome you to wonderful conversations in a series that we're presenting and really just unpacking what it really looks like to be an entrepreneur at different stages, ones that are just starting, ones that are in the middle, ones that are super successful, and any areas in between. For 11-3-7-5, we are a minority women business enterprise. We are business social consultants that help provides foundational support to small businesses. We are right now in a virtual space just like everyone else, but we are still providing business coaching, workshop entrepreneurship, and teaching young adults, and also just working with other organizations to provide them with support and strategy as well. We are really good at identifying business gaps. So if you're in need of support for your business, please consider supporting 11-3-7-5. We will be happy to walk you through your process and to be able to help you to get to where you are on your journey. At the beginning of this year, I had some written goals, and a part of those goals was to become more visible. Needless to say, I had no idea that I would be more present, more prominent in a space that I'm not that comfortable in participating on. However, understanding that I am in business and that I would like to create an alternative source of means to be able to support myself and my family, being on social media, namely Facebook, Instagram, and also YouTube is a way for me to promote, market the services that I have available. So for all of us who are in this digital space, it is becoming more and more important that we actually understand how to use social media in the best ways to be able to market our business and our products and services, not just going live. because we always, want to share our experiences by just going live. But specifically, if you are in business, we have to be a little bit more creative with our content and ensuring that the content that we put out to our community is relevant, it provides information, and that it can make us laugh. Because let's face it, we are in this space where on a day in, day out, we're inundated with negativity. And so to find a little joy in the spaces that we are tapping into online becomes ever critical. And so, if you are in the professional services industry or any other industry, before you think about hiring someone who is a business consultant, such as myself, or last week we had Denisha on, think about a lot of the free resources that are out there that you can take advantage of. There are a number of free resources that we are pushing and promoting and encouraging all, particularly startup, mid-sized entrepreneurs who may need a strategy reboost or need information. All of these things are out there for free. Think about your local economic development corporations. A lot of them have received funding to help at the local grassroots level, to be able to help you either if you need a website, if you need some social media help. And if you are in New York City, particularly, we have the Department of Small Business Services that has a lot of resources for free that you can take advantage of, and just make the time, carve out a little bit of time out of your week to be able to take advantage of these services that exist. So before I bring on my first guest, I just wanted to do a business call to action for all of those individuals who are business owners. I had a chance this week to be on a call with Senator James Sanders, one of the senators out of New York State. And there is a call to action that is happening, something that I was totally unaware of. The corona aid virus relief and the CARES Act. There was a $2.2 trillion economic stimulus bill that we all were aware of, that happened earlier this year, was signed off on March 27, 2020, in response to the economic crisis during COVID-19. But what we didn't recognize is that there's still nearly $2 billion that is unspent in the New York CARES Act funds available, that is available right now. So what the Office of Senator Sanders is requesting that you join in signing on a letter to use any of the unspent CARES Act funds for small business grants. And if you're interested in signing on, particularly if you are a small business registered within the state of New York, his office is encouraging us to contact his legislative director, Paul Alexander. The email address is there at alexander@newyorkstate.gov. I'm going to repeat this, that there is an opportunity for us to join and to help our local senators. Particularly, this bill is coming out through the office of Senator James Sanders Jr. And if you are interested in signing on as a small business, please be sure to contact the legislative director. It's listed there, the email information, and it will also be posted after this live broadcast. So it's something to think about. And as a small business owner, whenever we see policies or ways that we could be supportive of our local elected officials, keep in mind that when we put them in office, vote for them in office, we should be actively engaging on all levels at the state, city, and also the federal level with all of those who we vote in office. We cannot, in my personal opinion, just leave them there without appropriately advocating different ways to help make us all and our businesses thrive, particularly in this economy that we are living in at the moment. And now I am going to be quiet for just a little bit, because I am really excited about um, our next guest, and actually the first guest for tonight, because I know her from around the way. And I think that when we are, looking to connect with individuals, it's really nice to have someone that you know. It's nice to have someone who is a mother as well. So I am going to bring to the table Miss Elana Martins. Hi, Elana. For some strange reason, I cannot hear you, Ilana. We were just having this nice, wonderful chat. Can we hear each other okay now? Nope.
Hey, Sam.
All right, so let's try this. Can you hear me now?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing really good, thank you. So, without just having a short brief, I will just slightly introduce you, just slightly. You are a mom,
What's
an
going on? Can
entrepreneur.
I can hear you?
You can hear me?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, is there a delay? Okay, let's try it again. So how about we do this? How about we do this? Yes, I can. Can you hear me? That's the question.
And every
Nope, I cannot hear. I cannot hear.
you.
Okay. All right. So let's go. So tell us
Uh-oh.
a little bit about who you are, about what brings you to the world of entrepreneurship, and how did you get started, even though you are a mom just like I am.
Well, a little bit about me. Let's see. So I'm a mother, as you said, a proud mother, um, a public servant, an artist, an entrepreneur, a person who loves to advocate for our people, social justice, human rights, just really, really getting down in the nitty gritty of it. I think entrepreneurship has been in my bones since I was very, very young. I have a nonprofit which I started in 2009, the Art of Self Esteem, which is a creative space to build healthy self esteem. But it's like that spirit of just really, really wanting to grow and be that entrepreneur, be my own boss, really, really like provide for my family and think about balancing the world of, you know, family, work, social, self-care, all of those different things. I had this idea of, okay, what is really needed? And it's been in my bones, and it's been from some of my experiences as a mother, as well as the experience of other parents in general that I've encountered that led me to start a for profit MKC for me, which is mobile kid clubs for meetings, events, and errands. You're like, okay, so what's that? It is basically a non-traditional child care club for late hours and drop-in as needed care, where we as parents need that opportunity for self-care or to take care of business without our children. Having that space and that area where we can do that and know that your children are in a safe space. Because when I think about like looking at the traditional childcare agencies, there's over 800 right here in Brooklyn. and less than 1% of them stay open past 6 p.m. They don't have that capability of allowing you to just drop in when you need that care or that service, or you might need to attend a workshop and you don't need a full day of care. You might need to run to the bank. You might need to do whatever you need to do, or even go to the spa, go get your nails done, go to the gym, do those things. So this was something that I really, really was thoughtful in how, when I was putting it on paper, was thinking about the experiences as a parent and thinking about the experiences of other parents and especially mothers, and me as a single mother, really thinking, how do I balance that healthy parent-child relationship, as well as really not beating myself up for not always wanting my child around me. So that was really, really where the idea and the sort of passion of starting MKC for me came from.
So you decided that you wanted to create all of this in the midst of COVID, huh? How
Yeah.
bold is that?
So it's like in a sense it was, the idea was there for many years, but this was the time where that space to utilize certain opportunities, where if we were out in the world of not digital, or things being transpired online, I may have not been able to take the advantage of certain opportunities that came my way, where there were workshops. So I did take sort of a 10-week business course, even though I have a slight background in it. I was like, nope, I still need more. So I was able to tap into that resource and really hamper down and put this idea on paper, creating the business plan that is needed when you're starting a business. So that was the opportunity that presented itself, because that saying, in the midst of chaos there's opportunity. So for me, this was that opportunity to put it on paper, to not just have the idea, but to actually carry it through and say, you know what, this is the time. And it also sort of presented itself where, as I was hearing different stories and the time that we're spending with our children, many parents were frustrated and they didn't have that opportunity to have that self-care, because now they're with their children more. And it's like they're snapping and they're doing things where it's like, okay, you know what? How do I balance this? So although we are in the pre-startup stage, it is something that is definitely needed and is going to come to our community.
So let me ask you, so for the for-profit, you're in the early stages, what funding resources are you looking to seek out to help for you to fund this business? Is it specifically in all funding that you're coming out of pocket? Because I personally know that when I started 11375, I'm self-funded. Probably wasn't like the best way, but I also had an opportunity to take advantage of a lot of the free resources. So what were your startup costs that's in your business plan that you are looking to follow through or look for investors or banks, etc.? Tell us your
So for this particular business, and having the business plan and also those financials, I did go through a startup analysis, and going through everything, the startup for what I plan to do is approximately 35,000 to 40,000. So do I have that right now? No, I don't. So the initial things that I did, I am self-funding right now, but I am also looking for funding. So when we talk about tapping into resources and doing some of the research of what resources are out there, looking to see what sometimes competitions are available to enter, what investors, and we have to be careful when we talk about investors, because when we think about our small businesses and we're asking other people to invest in it, they want a return on their investment. So you have to be very solid in your business plan, in what you are expecting and what they're asking for, and are you willing to give what they're asking for. So I haven't gone down the path of taking out a loan just yet, but in the near future I may think about that. So I am doing research in those avenues, but I definitely agree that being 100% self-funded, unless you have pockets to do that, is not always the best course of action.
And so it's very interesting because what you're talking about is a debt model versus an equity model, right? And so within a debt model, obviously you are going to a local credit union, and so these are the things that I'm going to encourage: a local credit union, a community is a CDFI, community development financial institution, which are local organizations that are typically funded from the federal government to be able to convert and provide resources to local small businesses at that level, not the big super large banks, right? But thinking local, organizations that come to mind also is True Fund, the local economic development corporations get grants as well. So when you are thinking about a debt model, debt meaning you have to take out a loan, typically at a low cost, especially if you did not participate in the PPP, the first two rounds. I've been hearing rumblings at the state level that, based off of what's happening, in Washington, D.C., the changes that there may be another one that is specifically designated and targeted to Black businesses, because a lot of us did not qualify. And
Right.
part of the reason, I'll put it out there, is because we just didn't have our financial documents and stuff and things in order. So think about, preparing our documents, having your financial house in order. And then, if you are considering an equity model, which is you have individuals, to what Elana was mentioned about investors, and thinking about the percentage that they will own of your business, is also a different model as well. So when you are looking, to Ilana's point, you have to understand what you're giving up within your
Right.
business, because a lot of times, we're working hard, sometimes, after our day jobs, we're now working on this dream another, 10 to 15 hours into the wee hours. And do you just want to give that away? But we do need the capital. So it's a lot
Right.
to think about, to your point, Elana, a whole lot had to think about.
And and just thinking about something that you said, when we're thinking about those loans and who we're looking to seek those loans from, coming, like you said, to the credit unions, to the banks that invest in our communities, because a lot of times you have these large banks that are in our communities, but they're not actually investing in our communities the way the economic development corporations are, the way the credit unions are, and the way those um, other small lenders are investing in our communities. So that's very, very important. And you have to be really strategic in the way you go about asking and getting those loans.
But I also want to put out there again is that our finances have to be in order. Like, we can't kid ourselves with like not filing our taxes or not having our business structures in order. Like, we can no longer play those type of games, specifically if we want to compete for the money and resources that we know is ours. And I'm going to say it's ours, right?
Yep.
I'm not ashamed to say that anymore. It is ours. Like, we, help to build a different economies, and we're not actively participating because of these structures that is set up in place. So it's very interesting, and I want to thank you for being open about what the money looks like, because we feel like we need to keep it a secret.
No,
Can't.
nope. You can't keep it a secret. It's like, and that's part of being in business and starting a business, is you have to be so raw and honest about your process, your journey, and where you are, and what you can do, and what you're asking other people to do for you. So it's like a sort of like a look into yourself and say, can I really do this? And it's not like a easy, oh, you think you're gonna start today and be the next um Amazon tomorrow. It takes work to get to that stage, and you have to be willing to put in the work.
And also, as I'm looking at some of our live participants, they're saying, and also be taken very seriously about what's happening. So it's really, hey Antoinette, thanks for joining. So it's really, about making sure that our stuff is in order. But I want to tag on to what you talked about the what it takes. I'm curious, right? Because we both are mommies, right? We both are mothers. Agree. I was just kicking my child out of here earlier, and they was laughing at me.
Yeah, I went through it. I was like, now keep that voice down.
I can't. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes I cannot. And today was a very challenging day. So, how give us just a little bit, right? Because not only are you the partner, like you work full time as well, in addition to these other entities that you're dealing with. Let's
Yes.
talk about that. What does your day look like?
So right now, I'll take it from where we are today. So it's like we're up 6 o'clock, getting that, you know, the day getting going, getting the breakfast made, making sure child is on the remote learning like they're supposed to be. Me getting into my first like meeting or wherever, because like you said, I am working full time, as well as in between those like silent times, making sure that, okay, what do I need to get done, or what can I get done today to get this little piece of the business done. So as I shared before, I was up in the wee hours and texting one of my biggest cheerleaders, my cuz, to be like, can you look at the website and see if anything? And interestingly enough, she found a spelling error. So I was like, but those are the things. So it's like not having enough hours in a day and really trying to balance it. And for me, quality is of the utmost importance. So yes, it's a lot, but also taking the time to step back and kind of really say, okay, I had enough. Because I I play the games on the phone, and I do take those times out to take a step back from it, but I also am grinding and making sure that I am doing and putting in the work of what it needs to do. So generally my day doesn't end until about 11:30, almost going into the next day, 12, 12 at night. And it's like my mind is always going. It's always like thinking of what's the next thing that I can do. What's the next thing that I can do? So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but like I said, I do take some time out for me. I definitely do take time out for me and make sure that I'm balancing it all, because I do want to make sure that I have in setting up that healthy relationship between me and my son, because it is just the two of us. So it's like, okay, you know what? All right, what do you need from me today? What is it that you need from me today? So yeah.
No, sometimes I cuss. I cuss sometimes. I I do. I cuss, and sometimes it's long. But you're getting to bed at 11:30, man. Like that's yeah. Hashtag goals right there. Cause nope. Mm-mm. And
So
we gotta talk about the self-care, because that is a part of what's necessary. Like we can't do anything without proper sleep. And
right.
I'm saying this, and knowing that I'm a work in progress, a
Mhm.
huge work in progress. And I think that to your point, you know, it's definitely something that we definitely have to balance.
Right.
A lot that we don't talk about. The unrealistic, sometimes realistic balanced act that we have.
Mhm. But it goes to sometimes the when we talk about that narrative, that perception of what other people see, because again, when we think about, and I'm going putting my health hat on for a minute, about how the our communities have higher prevalences of diabetes, hypertension, or things of that nature, and it is partially because we sometimes don't have a choice but to do what we do. We don't have, and partially again, and when I was intentional about thinking about starting this business, the benefit of having a nanny. We don't have that time to say, you know what? I have 5 things on the table to do, and I don't have, other people to pay to do them. I have to get them done. So it's almost like, where's those when we think about the resources and the support for our communities, and making sure that we have the mental health resources and those self-care spaces to release, and making sure that we're setting up our sister and our brother circles to really let loose and cuss and drink the bottle of wine and be like, and keep it real, and feel that there is no judgment when we're, letting loose and saying, you know what, I had a rough day. I got up and I started the day, but you know what, I got up, started the day, but I didn't take no shower because I just couldn't, because I had to do this, and this.
That's
And
fact.
really be able to release that to us in a space where we're not feeling judged.
And that's facts. And anybody who even judging that we don't take showers like every day,
Mm-hmm.
anybody you should be ashamed of yourself. Because sometimes, I'm not saying it happens all the time,
Right.
but
Right.
sometimes it does happen, especially if you are if you're a new mom. Because I remember that space before I even thought about having a business. I couldn't even, it were days I'm like, the teeth, I'm like, why my breath smell like this? Like, what is happening here? And it was because you are adjusting to
Mm-hmm.
whatever your new normal is.
Right.
And as someone said, eat chocolate and eat chocolate. Yes, to the eating
Yeah.
chocolate.
Yes. Yep. And then it's like we're adjusting to that new norm of being a parent, and still wanting to be able to do it all.
Right.
And it's like, really, where is that release where we have those supports that, okay, if I can't do it all, I have my village here to make sure that they got me.
And Coach Greg, and a mental safe place is important.
Yep.
I I think that's my friend. Hey, Coach G, if that's you, hey. So thank you all for tuning in. So I want to just, I know that this conversation is important. But I really want to get more back into your business, because I know that you are starting something that I know that when I show up at those community boards meetings and my little person is running around, right?
Yes.
I could have just, put her someplace, to try to keep her quiet, so that, not keeping her quiet because you don't want to
Right.
remove them from the space, but
Mhm.
sometimes you really need time to focus. So with your business, that's going to be super needed when we open this world.
Mhm.
Let's talk more about that. So you have a van. Like, what does that look like? Without giving out all of your business. 'Cause I know you want to keep some of the information and make it a surprise,
Right.
but so you're gonna have this large mobile
So
spot.
it's like a mobile. So think about like the sort of small school buses, or like the accessorized type style bus, with beautiful, friendly colors, and retrofitted to fit the needs of young people, of little people, where that space is going to be their fun, imaginative, creative space. And that's where they can go in that time of need, whether it be the parent. And then when we think about collaboration is very important to me. So part of when we think about our businesses and think about our target markets. Of course, my target markets, parents, caregivers, anyone who has children, but also when we think about organizations and businesses that don't have the capacity to provide childcare, that's where the collaborative piece comes in, collaborating with organizations. Because as you said, I remember my little one, since he was, I think he couldn't even talk yet, at every meeting I was there physically, but sometimes those days we can't focus and the information that's being provided is important. So having that space where we can safely have our children and be like, you know what, I know they're in good hands, so now I can focus here. I can get business done here. So that's where definitely the collaborative piece comes in, of really networking and linking up with organizations and businesses in the community to provide that service to them as well.
So where can they find your new venture? Because it's
So
still fresh.
yeah, it's very fresh. We're hoping the idea is to open in spring, and as a new business, again, quality is important to me, so we're in going through getting all our permits and making sure that everything is kosher, and that we're going to start out correct. But to find more information and just think about and look at what the business model looks like or what to expect, you can log into my website, www.mkcforme.com. Reach out to me on social media, MKC_for_me, as well as reach me via email, Elana@mkcforme.com. So that's it right there. And I would love feedback, because again, when we start a business, it's not our business, it's the business of the community, because the community is who's going to be patronizing it. So that feedback is going to be important, because yes, it's my passion and my vision, but I am starting and creating this business so that it is serviceable and what the community wants and needs.
Any tips that you can offer for those who are interested in opening a business or a nonprofit, because you do have both? So any tips you want to offer?
Definitely write that business plan. That's your blueprint. That's your starting space with those financials. Make sure you have that blueprint there. So write your business plan. Make sure that you're passionate about what you're doing. I often use the example, I could cook really good, but I don't like cooking. I just don't like it. I'm not passionate about it. I don't want to ever open a restaurant, but I'm good at cooking and I enjoy people. I love to see people enjoying my food, but I have no passion for cooking. So be passionate about what you want to do, what business you want to go into, or just your passion shows within your business. Buy what you need, not what you want. When we think about our finances and thinking about what we waste money on, when I think about even my business model, yes, the bus is meets the people where they're at, but I also thought about not having that overhead cost of a brick and mortar. So think about what you're spending your money on. Do you need the top of the notch website today, or do you need something where people can go to find the information and you build up to the wants? So having sort of like list of, what do I need to start? What do I need to thrive? What do I need to be successful? So having like layers of lists of what you need, so that you're not wasteful in spending your money. So those are 3 tips that I can offer right now. I can offer a whole lot more, but I'll stop right there.
So Elana was gracious enough to send over some tips. It was actually more than 3. And so after Ilana's segment, I'm actually going to post them because I don't want to cover her face. I'm still working through all the logistics of technology, so I don't want to cover her beautiful face, but I will, post them at the end of her segment so that you can actually see what those tips are. And I am just scanning to see if there are any questions. And while we are wrapping up your segment, Elana, do you have any last minute thoughts or tips or anything pressing that you want to say to the audience?
I'm like I said, I'm very, very passionate of really, really making sure that as a business owner, especially a woman of color, is tapping into those resources that are out there and available to us as minority women owned businesses, and just in general really, really thinking about and collaborating with like-minded people to get your business off the ground. Don't be afraid to share your idea. No one is going to be as passionate about what you're going to do and execute it in the way that you're going to do it. So get out there, share it, and bounce it off of other people, and reach out and get people's help, because I know that's been a struggle for me, is like really, really reaching out and asking for that help. Asking for help is not a weakness. Really, really tapping into the resources and getting that support that you need.
So we do have a question. Hey, Ash, how are you? Give my chunky baby kisses. Um, so Ashley's question is, when you write out your business model, what does that entail? How thorough does it need to be? And then what's next?
So it generally starts with just the idea. And then once you get that idea, then you start with, okay, the business description, that you go into sort of the layer of, okay, how are you going to execute it, thinking about your target market, thinking about your competition, like what's unique about your business. There's 500,000 burger joints, but each one of them have something unique about them. So really, really laying out what makes your business different. Again, that competition, having sort of, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty, but the SWOT analysis, like your strengths, your weaknesses, of what the threats. So even for me, in thinking about when I was writing this, a threat for me was COVID itself. The people are not right now willing. What safety precautions are you putting up to keep my child safe? What did I have to change? And that was also an opportunity for me of starting a new business in COVID, where not having to adjust, but putting that in it as safety precautions. So thinking about the threats, the weaknesses of your business. So again, as a new business, that's a weakness right there. You're new and you may not be as visible as other people. Having a marketing strategy, laying out a real market strategy of how you're going to market, whether it be flyering through social media, having a website, all of those things. So there's some concrete sort of, I'm going to say 8 or 9 sort of different layers of a business plan, but it's starting with the idea and then going through, your market, your target, your the strengths, the weaknesses, the threats, all of those things, as well as your financials. You have to know your financials. You may even hire an accountant, but you still have to know your financials. So don't be afraid to get in there and know what your startup cost is going to be, what in 3 years and 5 years, what your projections are going to be as well.
So thank you for that. And then Ashley follows up with, when you were thinking of doing this, what fears held you back and how did you get over those fears?
So the fear of, one, not having the funds of being able to execute it. So that was one fear. But just really the fear of starting. So it's almost like taking that first step. It's like a baby walking. You know how they put their foot out and they're afraid to take that next step. So it's really just the fear of starting and being sort of shut down when you do present it to someone. They're like, oh yeah, sounds good. And then you're in your mind, you're sort of feeling defeated. So really getting over that sort of self, you know, what do you say? Self-criticism of I can do this. I really can do this. So that I would say that was part of the biggest fear. Getting over it was having a support system, having those cheerleaders of saying, yeah, this is what I would do different. And having those trusted people that you can rely on to give you that support and that boost when you are feeling defeated.
And so, yes to all of that. So I want to just wrap up our segment because it looks like you're gonna have to come back. That's how this is gonna happen, because it looks like we have a lot more questions that need to be answered. But I do have another guest, and I want to give my next guest her time as well. Elana, you are awesome, and thank you for coming on and sharing a portion of your journey. So that means in 2021 we're gonna have Elana back on, and she's gonna talk more about her business. Both of them. So I'm sending you virtual kisses and hugs. Very thankful for you taking time out of your schedule. So, all right, take good care, Elana. Yes. So this is what's so amazing about, this virtual space. We have the opportunity to interview some really dope and amazing entrepreneurs that we don't see every day. So I'm just going to cover my face and throw up Elana's tips really briefly so that you can see them. And, she talked about writing a business plan. Do your research. Don't do it alone, because we're going to need support. Let us stop kidding ourselves. Be super passionate about what you do and spend money on what you need and not what you want. And you can find Elana and her business. She's actually on Instagram. She posted her website information. But guess what? This is also going to be posted on 11.375. So you'll actually be able to check us out there as well. And now what I get to do is, because this is my show, I get to do a commercial break in between us and our next guest to give us some time to drink some water, go to the bathroom, and maybe grab some wine. Oh, I'm sorry. I was back there dancing. I know. I'm not supposed to. Let me. Hey. So I was back there doing the little, trying to get all the jitters out, because even though we still doing this, I'm still nervous. But I wanted to give a shout out to all of these small entrepreneurs, small businesses that were featured in the video. And our goal is to be able to support each other, whether it's promoting their business. Most of them don't know about it, they didn't ask about it, but I think it's really important for us to be able to connect the dots and to be able to bring the resources that they need for all. So on that note, I am excited to bring to the table my next guest, who is a wonderful human being. Roxanne Lang is currently a licensed social worker, an entrepreneur. She is employed at the school that services children with special needs. She's just an amazing person. So while I am, going through this process, it looks like I'm freezing. I'm going to do something really quickly. Hopefully it fixes it. Bear with me one. So hopefully, oh, I'm moving again. Hey, technology. Hey. So I want to welcome to the table, Miss Roxanne Lang. I think she's an amazing person, and you're going to be just as excited as I am to have her. Don't make the face.
What's the face?
That welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for the introduction.
You're an amazing person. Why shouldn't you be introduced that way? Hello.
Thank you. So sweet.
So, Miss Roxanne Lang, you are what I call a triple threat, right? Not only are you a mom, but you are a wonderful licensed social worker, but you are also a real estate agent. How dope is that? Tell us about how you got started in this realm, and who you are, like, and all this wonderful things that's happening. Hey, Danny. I'm shouting out all the guests. Hey.
So who I am, let me see. You said two of them. I'm also a mom of three busy kids. One's not a kid, he's actually an adult, but two of them are very busy, of busy kids. And I'm also a wife. So yes, I'm also a licensed social worker, and I'm also a real estate agent. And to be honest, how did I get into real estate? So, I mean, I'm gonna keep it 100. My husband and I both work at industries that do not provide overtime. Okay. And you know what? Real estate is something that we have both been interested in, especially me. There's great opportunity there. Great opportunity for advancement, great opportunity to also help people find their homes, their dream homes. Oh my God, how good is that? So that's pretty much how I got into real estate. I find myself, I guess I did forget to mention one thing. I am also a veteran. I served in the Air National Guard for 8 years. So I find myself helping a lot of active duty and veteran military members find their home. Not that that is what I would only accept. Of course, I would accept anyone looking to sell and buy a home, but I seem to get a lot of veteran, again, and active duty members for the purchase of their first home. So, which is pretty exciting to me because buying a home is stressful. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. It is not easy. It is not fun. It is fun. I shouldn't say that. But when you're going through the process, it doesn't seem fun. And sometimes you just want to give up. So that, so again, you know, I enjoy helping my military vets and active duty members. So that's pretty much how I got into this.
So you have created a market for yourself, being a veteran and also being in real estate. But you also are combining it now. It seems to be with like mental wellness. Like, do we need to come sit on your couch? Like, you know, like how does that work? I mean, and it's nothing wrong with having a conversation, you know. So how are you combining all of that, like all the amazing skill sets that you have developed over the years to make this into one, like a triple threat? Because I think it's amazing.
So I will say this, and I will talk about my future goal. But I think with my skill set as being a social worker, I'm able to be very patient with people when they're purchasing their home. There's a lot of misconceptions with veteran buyers that, you know, they don't have the income, they don't have the money, you know, they are putting 100% down because they can, because this is their entitlement that they worked hard to get. And sometimes, to be honest, sellers sometimes don't want to deal with it, but I feel like it's worth a fight. Again, they serve this country, and why not? Like, they deserve it. So, you know, and just kind of helping them deal with the process of purchasing their first home, or their second home, if that's the case, but just going through the process and just trying to get them to calm down, and trying to get also at times the seller's realtor to just understand, like, yeah, this is their entitlement. They have every right to use this. So that is one aspect in the real estate world. My next task, or
Come with it.
my next task,
Come with it.
I am going to be starting a coaching business. So, and not coaching sports, because you know I can't, you know, I'm not athletic. That's the other three in the house. So of course, my first passion is mental health. That's what I have a master's degree in social work. I'm a licensed social worker for the state of New York. That is my passion. I am, and I'm going to explain the difference between a therapist and a coach. It's kind of on the wide spectrum here. Usually when someone goes to see a therapist, their therapist will diagnose them with a mental health disorder or diagnoses that possibly their insurance company will pay. Sometimes people are on this side of the spectrum where they're feeling stuck about things and they need to move forward. My target, of course, client will be parent coaching, because that is where I'm most experienced with. I've been a school social worker for 8-9 years now. I had to think about that. 9 years now. And, you know, although at work, I'm helping my students, I'm also coaching the parents as well. So and this pandemic has definitely taught me that it is a definite need out there, for parents to get some help, especially parents of special needs. Of special needs kids, because it is not easy. You know, we're going to school via internet, which is not something that we're accustomed to, and everyone is in need of some help here. So that is my next move that I'm hoping to have up and running by late January.
No, we're gonna make that happen, because I'm gonna help you. But that's a side conversation. So you talked about like I don't want this to be like more like a real estate thing, but can you offer, because this seems to be, though for some strange reason, even though we're in the midst of this global pandemic, it seems like the sale of homes have gone up. Would you be able to explain just like briefly for those who may be interested in looking to tap into that market, and also to, you know, to utilize your services as a realtor?
So of course, again, I would accept anyone who's looking to buy or sell a home. I will not discriminate. So, I think it seemed like financially the market had opened up during the pandemic. I mean, people were getting out of the city. I guess they realized that, no shade, but 600, 400 square feet is not going to cut it when, people are telling you can't leave the house. We talked about that. And, I think that it's important to, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, because everyone seems to be buying property. So I just wanted you to see if you could provide like tips or like what do you believe from your experience is causing this right now? You mentioned about us being in COVID. For sure, being in the spot in the BK wouldn't be working right now.
The interest rates were really low during COVID. The Federal Reserve had interest rates of like 2%. So people use that opportunity to purchase a home. And I mean, when you're sitting at home, you're kind of saving some money here and there. You're not buying lunch, you're not paying for gas, and interest rates were low. And, also people's jobs have changed. So now your company that maybe takes you 10 minutes to get to work has decided that they are going to go fully remote and maybe forever fully remote. And now you're like, wow, I can move to the suburbs because I don't have to drive. I don't have to think about driving for 2 hours or an hour and a half because my job is now remote. So that's one of the main reasons that a lot of people were buying homes, besides the fact that the interest rates were really low.
And I just want to add, you get peace of mind. That's hashtag peace of mind.
Yes.
So in the midst of all the crazy. So do you mind if we unpack what your future coaching services so that people could get really excited in addition to, supporting your real estate practice as well. Let's get excited about what this is going to look like. So you're going to be focusing and targeting on who?
Well, focusing and targeting on parents who may not have the best relationship with their child. Also, again, parents of those with special needs. What I find as working as, a school social worker is that pretty much we need to understand that we need to listen to our kids, but we also need to toe the line of also disciplining them. That's not a dirty word. It's important that they understand that there's both. So just trying to get this family dynamic back together, because it can be when your child has a voice when they're 14, 15 years old, and now you're like, well, wait, where's our relationship? And they were feeling some sort of way. It's a good idea to start working on this. So that is, that's one of the things I'm hoping to get off the ground. I'm also hoping, again, with my parents with special needs, to kind of figure out how can you help them at home. A lot of people would say, well, I'm not an OT therapist, or I'm not a speech therapist, so I don't have these techniques. And not to take anything away from those therapies, but you are your child's first teacher. So how do you get them to listen and do what needs to be done? How do you as a parent also understand what they're being taught in school? So that's the other thing too. And like, I'm guilty of it too. I cannot help my son with 7th grade math right now. But when it comes to our kids who have special needs, like, we need to really understand what they're working on in school. That's important. So yeah.
So Coach Greg, hey Coach G, he wanted to add on. He says interest rates are low, so it's a great opportunity to buy now.
Yes, that is very true. That is very true. And that's why you saw such an influx of people purchasing homes over the summer, because that is very true. And again, like I said, when you are, traveling to Rockefeller Center, maybe you only going from Harlem downtown, and now your job is saying, oh, well, we realize that we don't need to pay, that office space at Rockefeller Center $10 million a year when everyone can work from home. Then you're like, oh, yes, I'm going to go buy myself a house and have more space. So yes, that part is true.
So let's talk about, we talked about your future plans. Are there any additional tips that you would offer specifically for parents, right, who may not have children of special needs, and also for those who may be interested in buying property now? So I'll do both. Let's start with the parents, because Thank you.
So, right now things are tough. Like, I'm not even going to lie. Like, we are trying to work from home or work outside of the home. Like, I'm like, y'all two needs to make sure y'all get online. I gotta go. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But or we're trying to work from home, and that's not something that any of us are accustomed to. Like, it's not meant to mix. Like, either you're working and your kid is someplace else, or you're fully homeschooling. So one of the tips several tips that I think is really important is, first and foremost, is to set a visual schedule. Whether your child is, special needs or atypical, it's important to set a visual schedule, because if they were in school, they have schedules. If your high schooler has the bell to ring and they know in their mind that they need to be, at the next class in 2 or 4 minutes. So setting a visual schedule so they know what to expect. That's very important. That's what we use as adults as well. We use a calendar to know what we have to do during the day. Setting boundaries as well. So most schools I see are going remote until after Thanksgiving, but it's still a school day. Like, you don't have to get up at 5:30 to be out the house by 7, but you still need to log on at a certain time. So yeah, you're not staying up to 2:00 in the morning. You don't have to go to bed at 9, but you're going to bed at a decent hour. So setting those boundaries, and also, may I add, setting those boundaries with our teenagers with their cell phones. So now they're on the internet more and more because this is how they go to school. It doesn't mean after school is over, you need to be on Instagram for 7 more hours. So setting those boundaries are important. Using school resources is important as well. Right now, your teacher, your child's teacher, your child's therapist, OT specialist, speech, whatever they use, needs to become your best friend. May not like the lady or the man afterwards. I don't know what to tell you. But right now, that person kind of needs to be your quote unquote best friend. Like, it has to be a team effort, or this is just not going to work. That old saying of, well, everyone is complaining right now. Oh my goodness, I'm going to send an email to the superintendent. This isn't fair. Everybody's doing the best they can, but also, you need to reach out to your child's teacher if you need help. I would also say, be flexible too. Like, it's okay. Again, I cannot do 7th and 11th grade math. And if we can't get it done, we have to just be flexible. And especially with our children who are special needs, because there are other teaching opportunities other than maybe what the teacher is providing you. Cooking is a different way of learning math, learning how to do a life skill, which is important, especially for those of students who are special needs. That's something that some people take for granted. But being flexible, this summer we did a lot of gardening. That's a skill that they need to know how to do. So just, not making it so stressful. Another tip I have is age appropriate explanations of the current events. So too many times I have students that are like freaking out because they wake up and their parents have the news on, they go to bed, their parents have the news on, and a lot of the information they're not able to really understand. They hear there's a virus, but I don't see the virus, so should I be outside? You're hearing constantly how many people died, and that's just something that kids should not be hearing all the time. Of course, you want to tell them how to be safe, the reason why they're wearing a mask, wash their hands. Like, those are age appropriate events that they should know about. I will also say, when we are remote, also it's important to do movement breaks. Get up from away from the computer for a little bit. If it's not absolutely freezing outside, go for a walk, because that's important. A movement break can't be, oh, my child's going to get on Instagram or, the iPad or something like that. So they need to walk around, and even if it's for 10 minutes, just to get up and get outside, because that's tough. You're just sitting in front of a computer. Even in regular school, you need to get up and move around. Like, that's important too. And the last tip that I have, and this is for everyone, is to practice self-care. We are going through something that we have never gone through before. And it's not the school's fault. It's not time to be mean to one another. But it is definitely time to help one another, and take breaks when needed. So those are my tips for definitely for the kids and us getting through this remote learning. I mean, if we were kids and we had to go through this, I don't know what would happen, because we would just have like packets and be playing in the streets because
mud pies. I mean, that's what I used to do.
Exactly. There was no internet.
No. Mud pies. No. So yeah. So we are almost at time, but I wanted to just check to see, if anyone had any questions for Miss Roxanne Lang. She is a licensed real estate agent, so please take advantage of the services that she does have to offer. In wrapping up, you got any final thoughts, Miss Roxanne?
I don't know if I have any final thoughts. If anyone is looking to buy or purchase a home, I definitely can help them with that. The market is still good. It's still it's a seller's market. Yes, that is true. But there are still homes out there that can be purchased. They're beautiful homes that definitely can be purchased if anyone is interested.
And so, hey, Danielle. Says, I work in Brownsville, where local interest in home ownership and real estate investment is hampered by a financing challenge and the other complexities of a first real estate purchase. Is that a question or a statement, Mr. Murphy? Hey, I'm going to give him a moment, but I know that if this is okay, so he's coming again. What is the first step to fix this? I always tell entrepreneurs that nobody succeeds alone, but finding the right help is difficult. What is the first step to help fix this? Okay, so I'm going to give folks time to type.
Is he asking a credit-based question? That's what I feel like that question is.
So I'm going to give him a moment to clarify. So I'm going to just repost his question again.
Financing challenges.
Yeah.
I mean, the first step, of course, when purchasing a home, I mean, we're about to be in January, is to run your credit report and score and to clean up anything that is on there. It really takes about 6 months to clean up, or once you clean up things, it really takes 6 months or so for your score to possibly go up. So that's important too, to know, you know, to know what's on your credit, because yes, when you go to your broker or your bank, you want to know, you know, what your score is, what you're able to do in purchasing a home. If we're talking about, you know, financing a home, there's other products out there. You don't have to have the whole 20% down. There's FHA. And I think some of the conventional loans are also being a little lenient too, with the whole 20% down of a purchase price. So if that's what he's talking about, hopefully I answered that question.
Let us know, Danny, if that answers your question. So I'll give a moment for you know, for typing, because sometimes I forget we're in the virtual space and I'm like, huh, what is Well, I hope that answers your question. I'm going to look again to see if there's any more questions while we're waiting for follow-up with Mr. Murphy.
And if he's talking about investment properties, sometimes that can be difficult too, because they are requiring you. I don't know a lot about investment properties and like if you're talking about a multifamily property, you know, that sometimes that can be hard to purchase, especially if we're talking about in Brooklyn, where they're probably like $1 million plus or so. You know, they want a lot of assets. They want the bank wants a lot of assets. You know, they want a big portfolio sometimes. So, I mean, that can be difficult. But again, like, you know, if we're talking about a single family home, definitely knowing what your credit score is.
Yeah, so he says thanks, really interested in securing down payment. Okay, yeah, so that was thank you.
So securing down payments. Is he talking about, is he talking about, you know, there's different requirements for investment properties for securing down payments. If you're trying to, single family homes, down payments, I mean, to be honest with you, it's, you know, it's doable, you know, second job, possibly eating ramen noodle. No.
Yeah, let's not overlook that.
Let's not overlook that. Just saving and knowing where you're spending your money is important, especially if that's your goal. If your goal is to purchase any kind of property, just knowing where your money is going.
No, don't. We're good. We're in a digital space. That's why I am waiting for you to complete your thought, because these questions are important. And if we can't answer them all here live, you could definitely reach out, you know, directly to Miss Lang. Her information, she's on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and we'll be happy to make the connection offline. So, because those who know me know I'm all about the collaboration and making sure we get to know one another, love on one another, share, because we're in this crazy space together, and what I don't know, someone else may know. So we may want to, you know, consider connecting the dots offline. I'll be happy to make the introduction. No problem with that. So
definitely.
What else you got, Miss Roxanne?
I don't know. I don't know if I have anything else. I'm hoping that everyone has a stress-free holiday season. And, you know, enjoy each other's company. You know, don't think of this, speaking of mental wellness, don't think of this as, of course, being stuck in the house. as you see all over Facebook. Oh my God, I'm so stuck in the house. Think of it as an opportunity to get to know your family, whoever you live with, if you live with someone. And those that are alone, definitely reach out. There are ways to socially distance and just be a part of a community and not be alone during this time, because that's important. Because we're now embarking on back again on COVID and the holidays, which is a stressful time for everyone.
So on that note, Miss Roxanne Lang, I am going to say thank you so much for coming on, sharing your area of expertise. I'm going to send you virtual kisses and hugs. Thank you, because I know you're going to be back to let us know what's going to be happening next with your other business venture. But again, if you are in the market for real estate, please like and follow Miss Roxanne Lang. She is on Facebook, and you can find her on Instagram at realtor.roxannelang. So on that note, I'm going to say so long, and thank you again for coming. Mwah.
Bye.
I got some dope people in my tribe, y'all. I got some, but before we are wrapping up, but I wanted to just do a few more announcements because I know that you all may have jumped on late, but I want to make sure that this information does get in your hand. So as I mentioned at the top of the hour, Senator James Sander Jr. Requests that you join and sign a letter to use some of this unspent CARES Act funds for small business grants. Please contact his legislative director, Mr. Paul Alexander. The deadline to submit this information and to sign this letter is tomorrow. I just got this very short notice and I wanted to make sure that it is, for those who are watching live, that there is New York resources that are available. Please contact the office of Senator James Sanders in order to be able to get access to this information. They're looking for the support of business owners. So definitely, if you are interested and if you have a business, if you know someone has a business, please be sure to get this information and send an email to the legislative director, Mr. Paul Alexander, and his email is listed there. And I just want to, again, thank you all for tuning in. I am excited to present this particular just series about just a conversation of what it looks like to be an entrepreneur. We are all not Instagram famous. We're not overnight sensations. Being an entrepreneur requires discipline, consistency. There's a lot of variables that exist, making sure that we all have, the type of support systems that we have, dealing with our mental and emotional health, dealing with, sometimes marriages in between and children. All those things combined are the real makeup of what it looks like to be an entrepreneur. But if you stay tuned, there's more coming, because on Monday, we are going to be talking about the business side and the finances as to what that looks like. That's going to be on Monday. So I hope you stay tuned. And then on November the 30th, we're actually going to be talking with a very dynamic real estate developer, which I personally believe is a powerhouse. So stay tuned to this series. Stay locked. Please take a moment to like and follow my business page. This is an opportunity for us all to connect. I'm going to continue this series because I'm getting a lot of good feedback about it, because we are really stretching ourselves together and really talking about the topics that we all want to talk about. And so stay tuned. And I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your schedule. Again, please continue to love on us, support us, and all. And I want to thank you specifically for taking time out of your schedule. And I'm going to run these ad credits because there are a few good people that I want you to know. And I want you to be able to support all of us as we are going on this journey. So on that note, I want to send you all some virtual kisses, but just stay around just a little bit longer and watch these wonderful entrepreneurs on this journey as well. Stay safe, and until we speak again, I'll catch you on Monday, and enjoy your weekend.